In the previous chapter we learned that the main character had fulfilled the mission of killing the Minotaur King. Now we see that the system had given him the next mission to kill the Bee Queen. The main character proceeded to go but realized that the bees they were coming right at him, so he said it would be very easy, and in an instant he had killed all the bees. But when he looked up at the sky he realized that a million stingers were heading towards where he was, so he thought that this was his end. He could not dodge it, so he proceeded to attack and attack. Without failing he managed to put up a great battle. After killing all the bees the queen appeared. The protagonist was surprised that the queen bee had an almost human appearance. The queen wondered who that person was. The queen thought he was a very handsome man, so she thought of poisoning him and then eating him little by little. In an instant the bee launched its sting and the protagonist was scared, because a prick was in front of him, but he could dodge it too, thinking that he had to get out of there or else he would die, since the venom of that bee had infected him. But this idea would not be a very good one since the queen bee had placed a tracker on him. The protagonist was very surprised. He knew that he could not be dodging the stings everywhere, and stingers continued to fall from the sky. Even so he was able to dodge from below and attack against him those that fell from above. The queen bee was very surprised for seeing such attacks and that the protagonist could easily cover them. So going to the protagonist, he told him that he apparently was different from the people who had come to that place before. The protagonist asked him what he meant by the people who they had come to this place. If he was the only one who had this system, he would ask the queen bee what he was really talking, but she was yelling at him how he was going to respond to a simple human. When the protagonist proceeded to give him his second attack, the poison had already infected his entire body, and he felt that his end was near. He told her to the queen bee to please fulfill her last wish. She told him that she did not have to do him any favors, but since he was handsome, she was going to answer whatever he wanted. He proceeded to ask the queen bee one more time, what did she mean by that there were more people who had come to that place. She said that apparently they had not told her, but other people had come for the same reason. They came to kill the boss who was in that place as well, to tell him that this system that they had given him was not a system that had been created by a god or anything like that, but that it was created by a human who sent his human army to become strong and then stole their abilities. She said that she had enjoyed all the people who had sent him. The sad protagonist thought how that could be possible. He had not reincarnated for nothing, but someone had sent him. With a strong will he said that he was not going to be targeted by anyone. Now he is not. He wanted to die, but the queen bee had already launched an attack with all his venom, and the protagonist prepared to die, but in a dignified manner, like a true warrior. So he quickly proceeded to use all his skills, and managed to land a strong blow, to which the bee had been surprised, since she did not understand how the protagonist could still have so much strength. The queen bee had used all her strength, so she had no more, but she managed to see that a figure had launched into the air, and it was our protagonist, who was preparing to hit her again. Thinking about the battle, she concluded that she could not receive that blow or she would die, but it was too late. The protagonist had already connected his blow. Then they both called on the floor thrown away. And after that the protagonist said that apparently he had fulfilled his objective, which was to kill the queen bee, and he could now die in peace. He tried to drink at least a little bit of the medicine that healed all his wounds, but he was too weak. He couldn't even grab the medicine, and in an instant he had dropped it, thinking that this was the end of it. But just when he was going to lose consciousness, the demon that had previously killed him appeared, telling himself that he had a surprise in front of her. Meanwhile, we see some people who were talking. The boss was apparently telling him where number 15 was, to which the lady replied that she couldn't find a connection with him, and the boss said that this person didn't know could go. Apparently this was the person who had given the system to our protagonist. The boss said that he needed the ability that the protagonist had obtained, and proceeded to tell the girl to send many people to kill the protagonist. After that we see our protagonist, who had returned to his fat form again. He deduced that apparently he had died again, but suddenly a voice behind him began to tell him that even though he had been given a lot power, not even that he could do. He wondered what power he was talking about, and shouted curiously who it was. The mysterious person replied that he was the system. The protagonist kept saying to show himself, and when he finally saw it, he was surprised. Understood. He had asked him who it was, and why he had his face, to which that person replied arrogantly, I am you. After that he continued to underestimate him by saying that despite the fact that he had given him so much power, he couldn't even defeat a simple demon like that, to which the protagonist replied that it wasn't his fault. He hadn't even taught him anything, and he told him to please teach him, but the system told him that they were going to see again, not to worry, and after that the protagonist was preparing to wake up wondering who had brought him to that place. Since he had noticed that he was not in the same place, he proceeded to look for the person. But for a moment he remembered that when he fainted the demon had helped him, thinking that this demon was the one who had killed him. So he proceeded to tell him to come down from that place. She came down and told him that she did not want to fight him, but the protagonist told him that he does not forget what she had done to him, and to reassure him, she tells him not to worry, she will tell him something very important to him. She asks him if he knows that they had given him a system, for which the protagonist is surprised. She tells him that she had also had a system, so not to worry, and to trust her, but the protagonist was not sure about that, but still. The girl asks him if he had heard of a girl named Lily who was a heroine known a long time ago, since she had saved the world once, to which the protagonist replied that she had heard that name, and she tells him that that was her, but the protagonist tells her that he does not believe anything, because what she decides to show him her abilities, which were the same ones that the protagonist had used. He had realized that she had appeared in an instant in front of him, but he knew that this was not just speed, since when he was in the air, the girl had appeared again and he had thrown towards an edge. He believed that he had already identified that ability, which was paralysis of time, and only that heroine could use it. The protagonist finally believed him and asked him what he was going to teach him, but now the girl was not there to speak. With just one blow, he had sent the protagonist to sleep, and told him that if he wanted to learn, then he should stay there. Changing the scene, we see a Ferrari that the bald man was driving, asking the lady why they were going to help the protagonist, to which the lady told her that she was going to help the protagonist since he had previously helped her, and that was what a common person would do. The bald man smiled and said that this was not the real reason, but that the girl was in love with the main character. She got angry and yelled at him to drive and stop talking nonsense, while the bald man was driving. He said that apparently those people were still behind the protagonist, since he knew that the people who were behind the protagonist were from the other guild, to which he proceeded to slow down so they would not discover him. While we see the scum of the guy who had betrayed the protagonist. After that the white bald man said that he had brought a new girl with pink hair. He said that the girl was master goddess level and that she was very strong. The girl had detected the bald man and the young lady, and said that now he was going to solve a problem. The bald black man also detected her and told the young lady to go ahead, since that person was very dangerous, and the pink-haired woman was about to launch an attack against the Ferrari that was behind her, but the bald man with just a snap of his fingers had teleported the Ferrari behind the pink hair, so she proceeded to attack that person again, but the Ferrari was already far away. She said that she couldn't let that Ferrari go that fast, so she quickly prepared to launch an attack. While the lady tried to escape through the rearview mirror, she saw that the pink-haired woman had disappeared and had appeared above, launching more attacks on the Ferrari, but at that moment the bald man had teleported the Ferrari to another side, and now he was telling the lady to leave, and after that the pink-haired woman was about to ask him who it was, to what the bald man told her that he didn't know her, and that she better stop talking about things, since she knew who the person was there. The bald black man said that he didn't really know who it was, so for now he will have fun with she. The pink-haired girl said that she hadn't come to have fun, so she quickly prepared to give him her biggest attack, which had broken the ground all over that place, believing that she had killed him, so she already proceeded to leave. While we see the bald man, who was hiding, and he kept wondering who she was, but after thinking for several seconds he had realized who it was. Meanwhile we see the other bald man who was talking to the treacherous and told them that this girl was going to see him go in an instant, and not to worry, since she was very powerful. After that we changed the scene again to the black bald man, who wanted to go after the pink hair. The girl also discovered that she was still alive and that she was inside from a mountain. She proceeded to launch an attack that cut the mountain in two, and saying again that now that bald man was dead, but looking ahead, she had realized that she had been teleported to a desert, and the black bald man was telling her of that. He already knew for sure who she was. He said that the pink-haired girl was the old lady of the Tien family. At the same time we see the protagonist, who continues practicing with the demon girl and told her that she was powerful, but he told him that he didn't even have 5% of the power that she had obtained from that system. So he told him that if he didn't want to die right now, he better make an effort, and the main character was preparing to use all his power, and told the demon that now if he is going to attack seriously, so the demon girl proceeded to attack with all her power. and in an instant she had appeared in front of the protagonist's face, and told him that she was going to destroy it. But the protagonist had asked pause. The girl asked him what nonsense he was doing. He told her that he remembered that he had contribution points in the system, so he proceeded to take them to see if he could get an item or a skill. The girl told him that apparently in his time he no longer used those points because they were useless, and the main character said that maybe it would help him a bit, to which she replied to him to do it quickly, and after the main character activated several points, he said that now he felt very healthy, so the girl proceeded to attack him, but in an instant the protagonist with one hand had dodged the blow and had given him an attack that sent her flying. She was very surprised. She did not know that those points were so important to the person, thinking that although he and his system were much stronger than hers, he told her that this was not enough, and they both prepared to give each other the best attacks they had. So the girl proceeded to launch herself and the protagonist told her that he would wait for her. After that the two of them had charged their power to 100. Changing the scene again, we see the bald white man and the treacherous, who had arrived. He said that now they could enter calmly, but one of the treacherous said that it looked very dangerous, but he said that he did not care, and forced him to go in. The young lady had also come, and she said she wanted to go in, but the bald black man said that he shouldn't go in because it was dangerous, and that the barrier that was at the entrance had been put up by those wretches who had previously entered. After that, one of the subordinates of the white bald man showed him the phone again to see the boy. They were surprised since he looked like the fat man they had killed previously. They were also scared, since the door through which they were going to enter right now looked similar to the one they had previously entered with the fat man, but they believed that perhaps that should be just a coincidence. After the white bald man had entered with his subordinates, he said that a catastrophe had happened there, so he wondered who had done such a thing. Then he realized that the demon was there, so he thought it would have been better to have waited for the pink-haired girl, but the demon, she said that she wouldn't get into that problem, and the protagonist told her that he didn't care about any of that. They still believed that this was just a coincidence, but the protagonist asked them firmly that if they still remembered him, too. Which they were both surprised, and that is that they saw a totally different person. The white bald man asked them if they had seen a ghost, or what, since their faces looked as if they had seen dead, to which they didn't even speak, but he wasn't worried about fighting the main character. The demon girl just told him to please not kill him or anything like that. The only one he had problems with was the main character. He also told the demon girl that he had a master rank girl, and if she tried to do something then he would come to kill her. She proudly asks him if that was a threat, but since the protagonist had asked her not to interfere, then she wouldn't do it, and in an instant the main character had appeared behind the bald white man, telling him who he's talking about. But he thought of attacking the main character quickly, telling him that he wasn't even going to be able to dodge that attack, and in a given moment the white bald man decided to launch an attack. And the protagonist gave him his hand, telling him that he was on that side. A few moments later he rolled against the demon girl, and with just one slap she sent him flying and inserted him into the wall, telling him not to throw his trash at him. The two unfortunates thought about attacking because they said that even though they had betrayed him they wanted to kill them. But the main character evaded the power of one of them easily, and the main character told them that when a person he has a higher rank than theirs, they couldn't attack him, because that doesn't have any effect on him. Even so the other decided to attack. But the protagonist tells him again that if as his disciple he hadn't learned anything, now he was going to learn to really learn. He quickly proceeded to load all his energy into his fist and with that sent him flying towards the wall. After that the white bald man had woken up, and he was wondering if it was the same person he had seen before, so he tried attack him and again, but the protagonist was not there to waste time. From one moment to the next he dodged all the fists, and with that he attacked the bald white man again, which was not even the same as the attack he had launched previously, since that had caused a noise that until the demon girl was surprised, but a person had arrived, and it was the bald black man. The protagonist asked him why he had softened the fall. If those people tried to kill him, he said that he had done it only for his own good. Although he was seeing that this boy was very badly injured, he said that he didn't care. Even so the demon girl said that she had finally seen something interesting, and if the main character fought with that bald man, then he would become very strong, and in for a moment the protagonist had appeared behind the bald man. He was asking him what he was going to do. The black bald man told him that he wasn't coming to fight him, or anything like that, but he told him not to be looking for trouble, because if he had killed that bald guy then it would be a big problem, since they would be looking for him with a black card and also for the lady, so he asked her to please not look for so much trouble. Even the protagonist kept saying that it was not his fault, and that he never wanted to defeat him or give him a big hit. But the black-balled man said it was a warning, and he decided to leave. After that, the demon girl had stopped and told him not to worry. In a few days, he could defeat that black-balled man, and gave him a big hit. She will now give him a reward, taking him to the place where she had become so strong when she learned about the system. Thanks for listening to this summary. If you want a second part soon, please support the video. Follow us and comment if you want us to narrate another manga.